awesome!
Hey, all Noons here, and welcome back to Noons Airborne RC. And if it's your first time here, go ahead and smash that like and subscribe button so you can get notified for future content. Well, everybody, this is our second installment of the MIG-21 Fishbed. Hope you guys saw the unboxing. I know there's probably been thousands of unboxing, but that one was mine. And this one right here is going to be the assembly video. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. We're going to get our handy, trusty, dandy manual, and we'll be flipping it over to page 1. And it's pretty much telling us what we need to do is we need to go ahead and remove a few things and glue our tail end. So let's go ahead and get to it. So the first thing it wants us to do is remove the hatch. And it wants us to go ahead, let me turn this over. It wants us to go ahead and remove the battery plate. The reason why we're removing the battery plate is we're gonna have to go ahead and fish those wires from the tail section all the way to the front. So let's go ahead and get that done. All right, like I was saying earlier, we're gonna go ahead and remove these screws. Go ahead, take this out right here. I'm gonna go ahead and unscrew this. One, no screw there, and we got a screw here. No biggie. I'm pretty sure 2 screws is enough to go ahead and keep this on there. It would have been nice because it does have 4 places, but it only gave us 2 screws. So I'll go ahead and let you guys think about that. Go ahead and I'll just put some other screws. Like I said, I'm pretty sure 2 screws is going to be enough. So now that we went ahead and removed this, the second thing it wants us to go ahead and do is to remove the inlet off the back. So for the second step, it wants us to remove this right here, and I've seen in other videos that it wasn't glued in. Unfortunately, this is glued in, but I believe we could go ahead and fish the wires without having to touch the ESC or move anything around. So we're going to go ahead and skip this step, and we're going to fish the wires from the rear to the front and then glue on the tail end. All right, everybody, the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to fish the wires through the fuselage. So the next thing we're going to need is we're going to need our go get 'em wire, and we're going to go ahead and fish it through the top. You'll see that that has an opening, and we're going to go ahead and pull it all the way in the back, and we're going to go ahead and leave it right here, and we're going to go ahead and start running the wires. So we got our end of our fuselage, our tail piece. We went ahead and pulled out the wires right here. And we're going to take these 2 servo leads and we're going to get them right here in the go get 'em. I'm going to go ahead and run both of them at the same time. And we're going to go ahead and fish these on the way to the front. So we go ahead and get them started and let's pull them on through. And it's that simple, everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and leave them attached so I have something with weight. And now we're going to go ahead and get the tail end prepped for the glue. All right, as you can see, everybody, I got my tail piece here. I have my wires fished through. And before I head and I glue this is such a smooth surface. I like to go ahead and get my X-Acto knife. And I like to go ahead and give it a few scores. Give it something, you know, a little more to grab. Excuse me for the air conditioner. Monsoon season in Arizona. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to continue doing this to this part and the aft section as well. Alright, for the next step, we got our glue that comes with the kit. We're going to go ahead, we're going to apply this liberally all around this back end to the back end here, around the two alignment pegs and the slot. We want to get enough glue in here that we can get a really good solid bond. So we're going to go ahead and take our glue and we're going to go ahead and open her up. And we're going to go ahead and apply it, like I said, very liberally all the way. You can't put too much on here. So we're going to make sure we get it all even. I'm not worried. I'll use the whole tube if I have to. I got more lying around. It's better to have more than not have enough. Just make sure you get it around all the areas so you don't get a weak spot. Put some in here. Okay. And don't forget to do the same to the other side. We want to make sure we get as much glue, as much coverage, should I say. Don't be afraid. This stuff wipes off pretty good. Make sure you get it around here on these pegs. All four sides. Where it keys in. I always think that this is going to be a structural part, and it usually is. Once we go ahead and we get the glue on there, and we're satisfied with our coverage, a little more over here. Let's go ahead and join these two pieces on. So we'll go ahead and fish the wires on through. Hang that off. And we'll go ahead and key this in. We'll go ahead and give it a little bit of pressure. Wait a little bit. Go ahead and pull it back out. As you can see, it already wants to be sticky. Oh yeah, look at those good fingers. Go ahead and smash it in once more. I always like to do this 3 times. As you can see, it wants to hold more and more. And we'll go ahead and wait a little bit. I like to go ahead and wait about 20 to 30 seconds. Some people wait a good minute or so. And let's go ahead and put her on. Alright, make sure we got a good seal. Any excess glue. And as you can see, there was not too much that we got leaked out, but we know we got plenty of enough glue on there to make contact. And now let's go ahead, and I like to go ahead and set this up. It's putting pressure on it as if it sits here, so we're going to go ahead and let gravity do the work. Now that we got this glued in place, let's go ahead and take away our go get 'em. See how it looks. Give it one good push. Let's turn her over. And I'll go ahead and set her up over here. I'll get a nice piece of foam so I don't damage the plane. And I'll just set her off to the side. And I will just let gravity sit here and do its job. Alright everybody, the next part we're going to go ahead and do is that we're going to install the rudder and the vertical stabilizer. We have our long lead. So again, we're going to need our little nifty tool. And let's go ahead and feed it on through the back. And just make sure that it comes out through the top. Go ahead and turn it around. And there we go. So we'll leave that there. We'll feed our servo lead right through there. And we'll go ahead and pull her to the front. Feed her on up. There we go. Leave her attached and leave her hanging. Pull this taut, and we're just going to go ahead and set the rudder, the horizontal stab, right into place. There is a little channel for the servo wires to go through. So if it doesn't sit down flat, it's because you're most likely these wires you got for the elevators aren't in its little channel. So let's go ahead and line this thing up. Let's feed her on down. Oh, she fits pretty good. Make sure the holes line up before you start wrenching on it. I've seen a lot of people saying that they were stripping these out because it wasn't lining up. And for this, we're going to be using the 3mm by 8mm long. There are other screws for the horizontal stabs that are 2.6mm, so it behooves you to go ahead and measure these out before you start screwing stuff together, just to make sure that you don't strip anything out. And I don't tighten them too tight. I wait till they get taut. And that's all it needs, because you are screwing into plastic. Just remember that. If you keep on screwing it really tight, what's going to end up happening is you're going to strip it. And then you're going to have to end up gluing this in. Which, in my honest opinion, if I see any trouble with this, which I don't see we're going to have, is I would throw a little bit of glue in there. But we're not going to go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and screw this bad boys in. And last one. And that's it. That takes care of the vertical stabilizer. We take our little come along out, and I believe we're going to be done with that. So the next step we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and mount the horizontal stabilizers. All right, next thing we're going to go ahead and do is do the horizontal stabilizer. And as you can see, you have a round peg here, and you got a carbon fiber spar already in there. Not exactly rocket science, but you're just going to go ahead and feed that in. And we're going to go ahead and push that in until it doesn't go anymore. Make sure that the holes line up. And we're going to go ahead and put the 2.6 by 8mm screws in there. So let's go ahead and get those screws. We're going to go ahead and just drive them home. Same thing as the vertical stabilizer, just nice and tight. We're not going to over tighten them. Just when they get snug, we'll just give them a little love nudge, what I call. And you notice I hold it from underneath so I'm not putting all the pressure, so I don't bend the foam or the plastic or anything like that. And that's it. 1, 2, and done. Now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing to the other side, and we'll be right back. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and connect our leads to the whiteboard. And right here you'll see you have 3 open slots. And you see how it says aileron? That's not pointing, because if you could see those little black lines, this top one right here is the rudder, and that elevator splits off. So the middle is the rudder, the outside 2 are the elevator. So we're going to go ahead and get those plugged in. Now that we got our leads plugged in, now it's time to tuck everything underneath and put our plate back on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, and we'll be right back. All right, everybody, I went ahead and I put the plate in. And you know how I said that there was missing 2 screws? There was 2 screws in the bag. So I went ahead and I used those, same size. So I guess that's what it meant to be. So I got the wires all ran. It looks all nice and pretty. Let me go ahead and zoom out. And the receiver is going to connect in here, and this is going to be all nice and neat for our battery. And we have our for our power for our ESC right there. So the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and plug in the wings. All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and mount the wings. Skinny spar in the back, fat spar in the front. Be careful when you pull these off. They use that fiberglass tape, the glass tape, which I'm not a fan of, because you really got to watch it now when you pull it off. Now the wing touches here, so you won't see it when you peel the paint. But let's just say that they didn't stick it on the right way. Well, now you're going to have some paint that's going to come up and you're going to be upset. So just a little tip right there, just be cautious on it. Take your time, don't rush it. And let's go ahead and get these stars flattened out. I always start from the middle and I always go out. These things are sticky. Just because they come up, that's because of shipping and sitting around. So don't let that fool you. So we're going to go ahead and take our wing. We're going to take our connector right here. And we're going to connect that bad boy right in here. And it can only go in one way. They are keyed. So let's go ahead and slide this on. One spar. Get this other spar started. We're going to go ahead and feed it through, and we are going to make our connection. Now you could say that this is a quick connection, because you know it really is. But with these kinds of connectors right here, I don't like to always disconnect and connect. I like to go ahead and connect them one time, and we'll be good to go. Make sure you got all the way seated, and we'll go ahead and feed her on in. I'll have to get this back one started first and the front one, and then we can go ahead and slide her on in. Perfect fit. And we're going to go ahead and put the screws in. Now for the screws in the package, there are 4 screws that do not look like the other ones. Okay? Remember, 2x6x8 for the horizontal stabs, 3mm by 8 for the rudder. Then you kind of got these machine pan head screws that don't look like they go into plastic. And obviously those are the ones that we're going to use for the wings. So we're going to go ahead and screw in this wing right here in the front. And this will help if you have a magnetic screwdriver, which I do. We just give that a snug. And we do it to the rear. Now they are slotted, so there is some play. Just make sure you get it all the way in as much as possible. And just like that, everybody, the wing is on. So we're going to go ahead and do the other side off camera, and we'll be right back. Alright, y'all, the next part we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and put the pylons for the drop tanks. This is pretty much clean. These are painted. I went ahead and I sanded the top down to go ahead and expose as much foam as possible, because gluing paint to foam ain't going to go ahead and work. So we're going to go ahead and use the same glue that came with the kit. And we're going to go ahead and smear it in here. There we go. Put it in there all nice. Put a little bit on the top. And we'll go ahead and drop these in. Go ahead and pull them out. Let it string up and breathe. And drop her back in. And there we go. Go ahead and push it down. Gets stringy. That's your elevator, so let's not go ahead and get close to that to damage it. And I just want to go ahead and make sure I got as much contact. Now I'm putting my hand on the bottom, my hand on the top, and I'm squeezing it together. And there we go. So we're going to go ahead and do it to the other side, and we'll be done with that. Last, we're going to go ahead and put our cone. It goes right in the front, and she just basically screws on in and gives us that really, really mean look. That's pretty much it. We're only going to put on a few scale bits I'm just gonna go ahead and put this on for the look. It is plastic. It did come a little bent, but it is kind of like a TBS plastic. And this is basically just mounts on in on one side. See if I can go ahead and get this done on camera. We'll go ahead and mount this in on one side without trying to break anything. There we go. And it will go right here into the front. She is going to be a tight fit, guys. It's probably nothing that you're going to want to transport with it. And just be careful, it is a tight fit. You don't damage your model. Notice I'm screwing it in. And go straight in. That's the last thing you want to do is rip this thing off. And there you go. And that's it. And we got our tube in. Well, everybody, what do you think? Looks pretty mean, huh? So that's pretty much the assembly video on it, all the major parts. The rest are your little scale antennas and stuff. I'm not going to do that in this video. I'll have another video following up on how you set up the linkages, the AR-637 Tango, and how I'm going to set this thing up for flight along with the AS-3X, and I will have safe enabled as well. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the video. Noon's out.